Good afternoon. My name is Roger Clare, and we're doing what I believe is our 6th update on the status of COVID-19, specifically regarding Bolingbrook issues. This update is being broadcast live on BCT, the Village website, and on Facebook pages. Closed captions during this live broadcast are available on the Village website and the Facebook video streams. Captions will be included on the rebroadcast on BCT later today. And transcripts of this and all COVID-19 updates are available within 24 hours on the Village website. Today's Monday, April 27th, which we believe is the 37th day of our shelter in place. And based on the governor's last actions last Thursday or Friday, extending this till May 30th, we have 33 days to go. I was somewhat surprised that he extended it 30 days last week. I was fully expecting maybe 2 weeks, but to go a whole other month was surprising and a bit of a disappointment. Beside me today is Ken Teppel, our Director of Public Safety, who will be giving an update on public safety issues, and Lucas Rickelman, our Director of Public Services, who will also be talking, and I want to again thank them for their work in this very difficult period of time with the Village. I'd like to thank Rosa Calhoun, our Director of Finance. Also, I'd like to thank James Farrell, our Director of IT. These are very trying times. They've been there for us when we needed them, and they've not taken any time off. But I'd also like to extend that thanks to all the employees. We are an essential service in many, many respects, so we must continue to work. But these are very trying times. There's a lot of stress, so I appreciate everyone's cooperation. I was told that there were those who questioned why we didn't have press available at these things for questions like you see nationally at the state level. Well, first of all, we have really no press that covers Bolingbrook anymore except the patch, if you want to call that press. We have no newspapers that regularly follow us, but what we do take are phone calls and emails that you might want to have. If you want to ask me a question or any of these individuals, you simply call 886-226-8400, ask for public safety, ask for public services, or ask for me. If you want to talk to me direct, you can call my direct line, which is 226-8412. My cell is 212-2200. And my email is bbmayor, short for Bolingbrook, bbmayor@aol.com, and we'll try and get you your answers back. We do spend every day, all three of us, taking calls from people with random questions about lots of things regarding the shutdown, what we can do, what we can't do, and we try and answer all those questions as best that we can. A couple of things coming up that we need to deal with. Memorial Day services in front of Village Hall at our Veterans Memorial has been going on here for years and years and years, 30, 40 years plus. That's going to be impossible with the shutdown going till May 30th. So there will be a Memorial Day program. It will not be attended by people. It'll be perhaps at the memorial or perhaps on the stage behind Village Hall, where we will conduct a Memorial Day message and recognize people that have been very helpful in the freedoms this country enjoys. The Village Picnic is still scheduled for the last Sunday in June. We're holding out decisions on that event, the concerts, which usually start June 10th, the 4th of July fireworks, the Jubilee in August, and all the other assembly programs and festivals we have by Village Hall. We will be canceling those as we have to, if in fact we have to. So check on our webpage, check on the home web pages of the various groups who are having these events for updates, but we're not going to cancel too far out until we, again, have to. This time I'd like to ask Ken Teppel to come up and give us some updates from within public safety.
Good afternoon. As the mayor mentioned, my name is Ken Teppel. I'm the Director of Public Safety here in the Village of Bolingbrook. Give you a few updates on things that are going on as of today. April 27th, about 1:30, I checked our numbers. They don't get updated till about 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, but as of today, our numbers are 314 positive cases in the Village of Bolingbrook out of 1,585 tests. That's a 20% positive to testing rate, and I stand corrected from last time. I said it was 2%. My scribble, I missed the 0, so it's still at a 20% rate, 19.8 for those of you who are perfectionists. So we're still right at that same number. I have to tell you, though, that still includes the numbers from March 20th. So those are folks that tested over a month ago, and they're still considered a positive test. So once you're on the test, you never really fall off. The first testing that began in Bolingbrook was at our site, at the Walgreens site, and that was on March 21st. And that brings me to a little story that it's not a secret, but it's out there and it's about. When Walgreens was setting up their testing facility, it was back and forth and back and forth. And Health and Human Services was, we're coming this day, we're not coming this day, we're doing this, we're doing that. Walgreens set up our testing site different than the Walmart testing sites that were in Joliet and to the north, as a training facility for their people. So for their physicians and their pharmacists and their pharmacy techs to come out under the guidance of a physician and administer the test. So they were looking at it as a training site, and then once everyone was up to speed, they were going to go out across the country and sites, which they've done. So while they were in this training phase, they reached out to myself, the hospitals, other local facilities, and said, hey, can you send us some people? We need people to train on. They could be symptomatic, asymptomatic, they could be perfectly healthy, they could, anything you want. So we started to get healthcare workers, we got police officers, we got firefighters. I believe some of the public services folks came through also when they wanted to. And it wasn't mandatory, it was all if you wanted to go. As the results started trickling in, we found that, we had 9 positive cases within the police department. And we started to examine those cases, and out of those 9 cases, 5 of them were asymptomatic, absolutely no symptoms whatsoever, perfectly healthy. So we started to scramble, enacted policies in place. We did contact tracing. We ended up quarantining people. We started to monitor folks, had them monitor their families. We had 4 people who were symptomatic. The worst was fever for about 3 or 4 days, chest constriction, couldn't walk up a flight of stairs without feeling like they were on a mountaintop. That was probably the worst. At the other end of the spectrum were allergy symptoms. They actually thought they had allergies and not actually the coronavirus. And one person had an unusual one that you're starting to see new symptoms coming out now with rashes or blotches or chills and fever in different kind of combination. Is he actually had some skin rashes that he went to his dermatologist for, who was kind of stumped, and he thought, hey, what the heck, I'll go and get tested. And he did, and ended up coming back positive. So that was in the very beginning stages, and those are well past the 14 days of quarantine, and they're worked back into our organization here, and we are taking safeguards to protect those folks, and not only them, but also you as our residents and our citizens. So the testing rate, you can see, is increasing in the state of Illinois, and therefore our positives are also increasing, but we're also seeing a lot of those positives are asymptomatic. Right now in Bolingbrook, our Walgreens test site, we're going to have a new traffic pattern. It's going to start tomorrow. We're going to take the traffic off of Boughton Road, and we're going to get it to come in off of Whitewater and circle around the building. We can get almost 2 to 3 times as many cars, and we can open up Boughton Road. So that's going to start tomorrow. Walgreens at 695 West Boughton is still only testing people who are 18 and older, so adults, with symptoms. So you have to have a symptom to go to the Walgreens test site. Unless you're a healthcare worker or first responder, they'll take anyone with or without symptoms. The second test site we have in Bolingbrook is at Physicians Immediate Care still. They're at 391 South Bolingbrook Drive, and they're taking the same, 18 and older with symptoms, any healthcare or first responder without symptoms, or they're also even taking patients that can be considered at higher risk. So if you have any more need further information from them, you can go on their website at physiciansimmediatecare.com, get information from them about their testing. By now, you all know that the governor has extended his stay-at-home order, as the mayor made reference to. I'm going to hit some of the highlights for you because we get called quite often about the stay-at-home order as far as the governor says that local law enforcement will enforce his order. He's increased the ability for everyone to enjoy outdoor recreation. There's some state parks that'll be opening up, and fishing is now allowed with no more than 2 people on a boat. But if you want to go on the Illinois Department of Natural Resources website and take a look there and see if they'll be opening up, this is all starting May 1st. So up to April 30th, May 1st, this is all going to take effect. I don't know, I tried to look online before I got here for Wayland Lakes, and that is the Will County Forest Preserve. If you go on their website or give them a call. A highlight is that golf will be reopening. I'm sure the mayor will cover that in his conclusion. But golf will be reopening under very strict guidelines. Essential businesses have been expanded. Essential businesses now are to include greenhouses, garden centers, and nurseries. They may reopen, so you can get out and get your stuff ready to get planted your garden. They have to require that employees and customers wear a face mask and obviously observe social distancing. Another highlight is animal groomers can also reopen. Non-essential retail. And these are retail stores not designated as essential in the first place, but they can open up to fulfill telephone and online orders through pickups and store delivery. So IKEA will probably be reopening again in the same format that they were in the beginning. So keep an eye out, check your stores or your establishment's website. The question has come up as far as face coverings. So if we go out grocery shopping, they're essential. You can go to the grocery store and face coverings. The governor has mandated that as of May 1st, individuals will be required to wear a face covering or a mask when in a public place, but here's the caveat, they can't maintain a 6-foot social distance. So if you're out walking your dog by yourself, you don't need to wear a face covering. If you're out just enjoying some fresh air with somebody who's in your household and there's more than 2 of you, you don't need to wear a face covering. But face coverings will be required in public indoor spaces such as stores. Now, things come up, well, who do we call if I go to the grocery store and they're not wearing their face covering? The police aren't going to be the face mask police. It's outside the scope, really. I hate to say this, and I know there's people out there who are probably going to send me an email, but if you don't like that store, their face mask policy with their employees or the folks who are shopping there, then don't go there. Go somewhere else. Take your money elsewhere. They'll eventually figure it out on why sales are dipping and everyone is going here and not coming to their establishment. So again, face covering, required to wear them when out in public places where you cannot maintain a 6-foot social distance, and inside in stores you should have them on. And lastly, we had discussed that, and speaking with the mayor and other staff here in the village, we will be reopening, a gradual reopening of Town Center and Village Hall here at 375 West Briarcliff. That'll be over at the police department lobby, kind of like the last place that was open before we had to, we closed everything down. It's on the far east side of the building. If you're looking at the building, there's entrances with a tunnel, entrances with flagpoles, and entrances with a fountain. We're above the tunnel. So come in there. We'll start Monday, May 4th at 9 a.m. We will have public services in there. We will have finance there. The police department will be there, and we'll also have, if you need anything with the fire department as far as inspections or reports, they'll be available there also for you. Other than that, I will now turn it over to...
What's the status of the 9?
The status of the 9, the mayor brought up. So of the 9, 5 are back at work. The other 4 are non-symptomatic, but we are following the CDC and the IDPH guidelines as far as getting those folks back in, and they'll have to be retested after 14 days, and they'll get retested, and then they'll be brought back into the police department and back into their departments and divisions. So they are doing well, and thank you for reminding me. Lucas?
Hello, I am Lucas Rickelman. I'm the Director of Public Services, and I'd like to start out with, once again, please do not flush wipes and paper towels down the toilet. They do clog not only pipes in your house, but we had them back up in a main sanitary sewer that had wipes in it. So please do not flush those down the drain. We want to make sure that, we keep those pipes clean. To update you on where we're at with the census, big thanks to Matt Eastman here at the Village, who's been getting the message out. And Bolingbrook has 67% response rate, which is higher than both Will County, which is at 65, and the state in general. Illinois is at 58%. So thanks, Matt, for getting that message out. That still means a third of households still need to respond to the census. Hard copies were placed in the mail, and the hard copy, you need to fill that out and return that. That is the last step before somebody will come and knock on your door. So if you don't fill it out, somebody will be coming and knocking on your door. So you can either A, return that hard copy that has just been mailed out. You can still go to my2020census.gov and fill it out there. Or you can call 844-330-2020 and fill it out that way. If you have any more information that you'd like about the census, please go to bolingbrook.com/2020census. There are some storms predicted this week, and it is the stormy season. If we do get a really heavy rain and you see some water collecting in the street, it's designed that way. Give it 15 minutes. If it doesn't go down in 15 minutes, if you could, please take a rake and kind of clear that drain off. That'd be greatly beneficial to the village. If not, please call us and we will get out there and take care of it. Storm damage, you can still call us if you have a limb that needs to be picked up. The number is 630-226-8800, and we'll get it on a list, and we might not get there that day, but we will get there as soon as possible to clean up that storm debris. Ken had mentioned some of the positive tests in PD. Nobody in public services at this point has tested positive, so we have 0 positive tests. To cover group, they are still picking up tied up bags, recycling in bins, and yard waste. Things that aren't being collected are loose items and construction debris, the bulk items and appliances, and the electronic recycling. However, I did speak to Groot today, and they are working on restoring some of these services. So in the next 2 to 3 weeks, you should hear something from us about which of these will be coming back, and then we will follow up that once those services return with the spring cleanup week, so we can get everything you've been holding on to. Once again, thank you for your patience in holding on to this stuff. We will get it eventually. Other than that, the main office here is closed. The 2 easiest numbers to get a hold of public services are, if it's building or planning and zoning related, please call 630-226-8470. Or if it's more public works related, use the 630-226-8800 number. And if you do need more specific information on a department, everything's listed on the website at bolingbrook.com.
Thank you, Ken and Lucas. As I said earlier, I was very surprised that the governor extended this to May 30th. Ken kind of highlighted some of the things that were changed, and I just want to comment about a few because effectively he throws these things out and leaves it up to us to interpret. Is that fair? No, nothing's fair in life, frankly, but it creates awkward situations. As Ken mentioned, we're not the mask police. If you go into a store and they're not following guidelines, go somewhere else. They'll figure it out real quick when they see people walk up and turn around and leave. We don't have the personnel to stand in every retail store. As mentioned, he mentioned golf was being opened up. Well, frankly, I've talked to several golf course operators recently, and based on what he did, it makes no sense to open up because it's totally impractical. I mean, for example, we won't let the practice range open up. Have you ever seen a practice range, ladies and gentlemen? People stand at least 6 to 10 feet apart and hit golf balls by themselves. What the thinking was on that, I don't know. And of course, at the end of the rules, it says, and by the way, you can't shake hands, which is a tradition after playing 18 holes of golf. Well, I think on April 27, 2020, most people know that handshaking's no longer going to happen. The greenhouses, garden centers, and nurseries may open, which is good news, certainly for a couple of our great long-time businesses here, Court Johansson and Tuck Landscaping. Animal grooming is reopened, so your dog can get a haircut, but you still can't. I don't know how they're going to work that out, but I do think they need to deal with that issue at some point. Restaurants and bars, I'm very concerned about. Okay, for those of you that have got a sense of humor, yes. Those people are typically small, independent business people. They've been down now 4 to 5 weeks, and they've been asked to stay closed for another month. I really don't know how too many businesses, small businesses, can sustain being closed for 2.5 months and reopen. And whether people like them or that, or is that really the point? We have a very great, solid business community here. I've watched many of those restaurants open up, and it bothers me a great deal to see them close. A couple of them opened up literally the week before they were shut down. And of course, now they're saying you can't use reusable bags. We spent years trying to get people to quit using plastic bags, and now we're being told you can't use reusable bags anymore, so we're going back to plastic bags. And of course, what's driving a lot of this are the nursing homes, where there's some serious issues here and throughout the state of Illinois. Nursing homes are strictly a function of state government, and I'm a little surprised when Bolingbrook was discovered with 22 deaths, probably 7-8 weeks ago at this point. Task forces weren't set into every nursing home to sequester people who were tested positive and relocate those who weren't. But of course that wasn't done, and now we see a number of nursing homes where people, the issues really escalated. Same happened with some prisons and any group home or situation. Those should have been targeted right up front. And of course, it was good to see the health department's going to be issuing guidelines to reopen surgical centers for some, not necessarily mandatory surgeries, but elective surgery. We have to get people back to work. Real estate taxes. The state, Will County has a treasurer. That treasurer by law is to issue real estate tax bills May 1st. That's just a few days away. So you're all going to give the real estate tax bill, and there's going to be a whole wave of people saying, do we have to pay it by, I believe, June 3rd and then September 3rd in 2 installments? We don't know. That is not part of our jurisdiction. I believe the county treasurer told me that he has no flexibility in that. The county board, I think, believes they do. The county board is going to be dealing with it. But given the fact that tax bills come out May 1st, I think they're a little behind the curve on getting some formal announcement out on when they're going to be due and if they can be delayed, if there's going to be penalties. But that's up to Will County Board, and I know the General Assembly has ultimate authority over that, and of course they're not in session either. We will have a board meeting here tomorrow night. It's our regularly scheduled meeting. We have to approve a budget by May 1st. So tomorrow night the budget approval will be up. It will be in this room. I will be running the meeting from this podium. The village board will be seated at the dais, every other chair, which is social distancing. The room has been marked with tape, alternating seats 6 feet apart, and we have a capacity of 24 people. So quite honestly, the first 24 people here, and we're not taking reservations, the first 24 people here will find a seat. The others will have to listen or watch it on BCT. I think we should have a television set up in the lobby so they can watch it at the counter. Was that doable? Yes, I just got a nod. About our budget revenues, because we've methodically moved to try and get away from property taxes to operate the village. And by the way, on your property tax bill, keep in mind about 9% of that property tax bill comes to the village of Bolingbrook. 65% or so goes to the school district, regardless of what school district you're in Bolingbrook, and the rest go to the library, the park district, the township, the county, and so on. So I know I'll get calls saying, how come my tax bill went up? Well, look at the bill first. It's all delineated on what each taxing body's collecting. Anyway, our sales tax, our budget, 40% of our budget revenues are sales taxes. Now, think about the fact stores have been closed now for 5 weeks, some exceptions. Costco's been open, but that's not 100%. That's considerably less than that. Combine that with the fact we won't find out what sales taxes are coming in for March until probably May or June. We won't find out what we get in April until June or July, and so on. So we're dealing in the dark here on what our revenue is going to be. And we'll be adjusting the budget this fall once we find out those definitive numbers. But sales taxes are down, hotel motel taxes down because we have one hotel closed, the rest are running 10-15% occupancy, so you can see a reduction in those of 60 to 80%. Same with transfer tax, real estate is not moving. We have implemented a hiring freeze in order to conserve funds. We've put in a spending freeze for the same purpose, and we plan to utilize our reserves. Most accounting firms will say you should have 3 to 6 months of your operating budget in reserves. We have 8 months, and if we put in some precautions now with a hiring freeze, not replacing people through attrition, we can extend that. But this is not the time for a tax increase, so we'll be utilizing reserves as best we can until we get through this and see our way clear. Some economists are projecting there's going to be a quick turnaround. The economy is going to jump right back in 6 months. Others, kind of like the weather forecast, chance of rain. Well, some are saying 6 months, some are saying perhaps a year, and some are saying we may not recover for as much as a year or more. I certainly hope the 6-month guy is correct. Again, it's a difficult time. Indiana's open, so people are going over to do things that they can't do in Illinois. So what's the mysterious thing about a line, arbitrary line draw between two states? But the 2 states have not worked that out. We have downstate where there's no cases in some counties. There's 102 counties in Illinois. The bulk of the problems are in the metropolitan areas. The rural areas do not have the problem, but so far the governor's made a one-size-fits-all rule. Another case in point on the guidelines, you can go out in your boat, but only 2 people. That means if you have a pontoon boat that handles 25 people, you have a person running the boat and 1 person sitting in back. You know, it's like when you think these guidelines through, would you maybe a little clarification? I think people can figure it out. If people are going to be cautious and safe, we'll follow the same rules. Anyway, it's a very tough situation. This has been very difficult for all of us. I know it's been difficult for all of you. All I can say is stay alert. Back to the grocery store issue. If they're not following guidelines there at the drugstore or whatever store, leave. They'll get the message. Anyway, stay alert, stay safe, and unfortunately, till May 30th, stay home. Thank you.